Are you stuck in your house with nothing to do? Erin is here to bake with you. Quarantine Baking with Erin.
Hi, and welcome to Quarantine Baking with Erin. Today we will be making popovers. We're making popovers because I happen to have a lot of ridiculous ingredients in my house because I bake all the time, but I thought it'd be nice to make something that probably everybody has in their house, or if you're like, let's make something with my child, this might be a good idea because it's pretty easy and they're delicious, and I think kids will like them. I don't have any. Okay, so what I've done off camera, I've preheated the oven, or I've started to preheat it. What I have done is I've greased a muffin pan. I have a 12 muffin pan, and I greased it and put it in the oven. It's important that the pan is hot when you put the mixture into the oven. Also, if you don't know what a popover is, I didn't until like last year. It's a delicious dinner roll, kind of. It's called a popover because it pops over the pan. It's like an explosion of airy, delicious dinner roll goodness. Okay, so we've got our muffin tin greased, warming up in the oven. You preheat it to 425. Okay, and then while your oven is preheating, you mix the batter. I have melted 1 tablespoon of butter in a bowl. You can use oil, you can use really any sort of oily thing if you don't have butter. A cup of milk. Then you're gonna kind of mix throughout, you know. Okay, you're gonna use 1 teaspoon, which is crazy to me that you would ever put so little sugar into something so delicious, but all about that fitness. Okay, so 1 teaspoon of sugar, then a half scant teaspoon salt. You know how we measure that. Well, that's probably too much. All right. I like to be imprecise, but I don't want to ruin anything. So, okay. Salt, and then 2 eggs. So far we've got flour. No, we don't even have the flour in here. We've got milk, butter, eggs, sugar, salt, and then lastly flour. So you might have all of these ingredients at home. So this might be something if you want to either have like, oh, let's make it a fancy dinner tonight and have like bread with your dinner. This might be something fun if your kid is being in the mood for a snack. This might be something fun to teach them about baking. Also, they're so delicious. They're great hot. I usually try to eat them hot because they're delicious, but they're also really good cold. Michael likes to put jam on them once they've cooled down. Okay, so we're putting in a cup of flour and mixing this all together. So I started preheating my oven right before I sat down, and we've made the mixture in the time that it took to preheat the oven. So I'm just trying to make sure that this is smooth and not lumpy. It's gonna be fine if it's lumpy. Yeah. So how's everybody's day going? Just one day at a time. Today's sunny where I am, so that's nice. Got to see a couple dogs. Always a plus. I've heard that all the dogs in Butler County, Ohio, are adopted, so that's one benefit of everybody being inside. Everyone's going like, hey, we should get a dog. For 10 minutes, I tried to convince Michael to get us a dog yesterday, and luckily he saw reason. Oh, perfect. Okay, so our oven is preheated. We're going to take out our very hot muffin tin. And then we're going to pour the mixture in about halfway up. So you can see that this looks kind of like runny pancake mix. I don't have all of the lumps out of it, but that's just not gonna happen. So this recipe should make up to 12. I like to make about 9. Their final shape should be kind of like a chef's hat. So we're pouring, mixing out these lumps as we go. And I'll just make sure this is all even. Okay, and so we're gonna put this in the oven for not very long. I believe it's, oops, that's not the oven mitt. I believe it's 7 to 9 minutes, but we're gonna double check. So, oh, okay. We've got some complicated instructions. So we're gonna place in the oven and bake for 15 minutes and then reduce heat to 350 and bake for 15 more minutes. Also, we're again using Mark Bittman's How to Cook Everything. You can see that the popovers and the scones are on the same page, so you know it's a quality cookbook because I love both of those things. All right, so we will check back in 15.
Oven turned down to 350.
For how long?
Another 15 minutes.
And what's that delicious smelling thing on the stove top?
Dinner.
Which is?
Some kind of thing.
All right, that's our timer. So let's check these hopefully delicious babies out. Okay, so they have not quite popped over the way that they should. You can tell in this one where you can see the separation, it should kind of like explode up. But they're gonna be delicious anyway, so no sad faces.
Here we are. Oh, I'm just gonna spread some butter on this. Very hot. Oh, look at that.
I can see the steam.
Oh yeah, so you know.
How much air is in the popover itself? Is it dense? Is it light?
It's pretty light. It looks like it's maybe 20% air.
All right. And would you recommend this amount of butter?
Of course. Wow. It has been way too long since you've made these.
All right, so I'm going to try with a lot less butter, you know, health. So what is the difference between these and like Pillsbury, like the things that come out of the can and they pop?
I don't know. These are just, there's no comparison. The other one's just very, I guess, bland in comparison. I don't know what you want.
What would you rate this?
I think it's an easy 18 out of 7.
18 out of 7.
Yeah, no questions asked.
All right. I'm going to give it a 7. I'm going to give it a 6.85 out of 10 because I really would have liked to see more of that rise. I think next time I will make fewer popovers and let them kind of explode out of the pan more.
I don't like the sound of fewer, but all right.
Bye.
Bye.
Well, are you stuck in your house with nothing to do? Erin is here to bake with you. Quarantine Baking with Erin.